I can stand up and look at this and get a close-up when you're doing that.
Yeah.
And I can really see that.
I know, yes.
I went over with my masking there, so do I fix that up later when I take the
Yeah.
mask off?
Yeah. Yeah, when in doubt, just wait until it dries. Yeah. So, what we want to do next is we want to paint the body, and the most difficult thing in painting the body is this face, because we have to leave the white in the face, and getting the colors we want for the green is probably going to be fun too. So this is my water brush, so I'm going to mix my cobalt with some yellow, which is nice and dirty.
Oh, is it ever?
Yeah.
Makes a nice green though.
Yeah.
Was it a particular yellow?
I'm using the Hansa yellow. So I'm
It's a
going
yellow light or medium?
Hansa yellow light.
Thank you.
So I'm going to try to mix a yellower version of that. Maybe I'll use a new brush for that.
Can you use lemon yellow?
Yes, it's basically the same thing. So this is my yellower yellow.
What green had you used? Or you just used blue?
I just used the Hansa with the cobalt. So the blue you were using and adding the yellow to it. So I've got a yellow. I can leave that brush there. I've got, actually I'm going to use this brush. It's got lots of blue on it. So when I do the face, I want the face to be soft. And the best way to do that is to paint it and then take your water brush and soften. So when I soften, I actually go from the outside in. So I go up to it with clear water, and when I hit the edge, it softens that edge. So that's the technique. I better do that over here so I can.
Your dark bits on the turtle's face were actually pencil colorings, aren't they?
Yes,
Like in here, it's all pencil, it's not actually paint.
correct.
Yeah. Right, I gotta do that. Yes. I did it really roughly.
Are you going to eventually paint that though?
Yes.
Oh, you are?
So here's how we soften. We go from the outside. Is that
Yep.
coming out
Oh,
on the camera? Oh, I think it is. And we just rub up against that edge, and that will soften it. Now, if it's started to dry, you'll see it doesn't soften too nicely. So you have to be ready for your softening once you put that on. So the face itself, this one is pretty light, but I could go a little bit darker with the paint. I don't want a huge amount of paint on my brush, so maybe I'll use a smaller brush here. And I'm not sure I have enough cobalt here. Okay, so if I look at the picture, there's white mainly on the half there. There is some white above his eye, so it might actually even be easier if I start around his eye.
And that's on dry.
That's on dry. And then there seems to be some white as it goes out here. So I'm going to turn this and I'm going to go and soften these edges. So I just did a little bit of blue and now I'm softening already.
My sentiments exactly.
And there's a bit more blue out there, but let's look at that.
Does it matter if you didn't fill in all of the little shape things?
It does not matter. I just found them, they may be easier to see if they're filled in. So I'm softening that. And then the rest, now it starts to be a bit green. So while I check my green, I'm just going to soften some of that. There was a bit more blue as you came out here, right? Yeah, it looks almost like it goes along here. And, well, it actually goes pretty far, doesn't it?
So I put some masking on the nose. I think so. Should we take the masking off?
You may, because
Yeah.
you do want it to look pretty soft.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of blue down here, but it's real soft, so I'm going to wet it. And now I start to get into my green. So I'm going to take my cobalt and I'm going to mix a bit of green with that. And I'm going to have that softening brush ready, but it looks pretty green down here. I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
And actually it's green right into here. So I see, oh, already it's got to be softened here.
Your softening brush is wet.
Yes, it is. Okay, and then I'm going to go here. Now here's a tricky part, because if I paint the green over here, it's going to create a hard edge, and maybe I don't want a hard edge there. So I'm going to soften this whole area so that it kind of blends into the background. That's what you call a lost edge, because there's, other than the pencil mark, there's no differentiation between those two. And I think I'm going to wet this part, but I'm going to continue on with my green. And these little marks kind of show me the direction that the green is going in. It does get quite light here, so if it's going to be light, I'm going to add more water.
They're having way too
There,
much fun.
yeah, they sure are.
Is there a male stripper in there?
There isn't. There should be.
Naturally,
Yes.
seeing.
And this part is quite dark, so I did that on dry. And then I'm going to soften that. That is really quite dark all the way around here, isn't it? And there's a bit of a hard edge here, so I don't have to worry about that. Underneath, he's blue, and that's going to help. See how it's shining a bit blue there?
Like right here?
Yeah. There's a bit of blue right in the middle.
Bluey greens.
Yeah. So again, I'm going to kind of soften this into this other blue that's here. Because I really don't want this to stand out too much, but I do want this part to stand out. That looks really green, doesn't it? And this looks quite dark, so I'm going to just keep applying
The
dark to
difference
that.
she's doing the one to the other.
Yeah, they never look
Well,
the same.
I love that. That
Yeah,
there's no right or wrong. It's how you happen to see it.
yeah. And then this is just water again. Because it's kind of light on the top there, but then it goes dark again. You have to be careful you don't mix up your brushes. And this part here is quite dark.
Are you using your green, or is it just gold?
It's a green mixed with cobalt, and I haven't used any yellow yet. which is interesting. Okay.
Worse for you? No, I'm fine.
No.
You're tall enough.
Yeah, and just continue here. I'm not sure if I like this so solid, but maybe what I'll do is I'll use a little bit of blue there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because it's darker down there. This was Prussian, maybe I'll throw a bit of that in. And then this part here is solid again. Now it's almost black there, but we're gonna add the black as another layer.
So you went right back to your...
Yeah. Now the other challenge with this is I don't want this to be see how it's dark against light, and that draws the eye. So I'm going to soften that a bit. Oops, I put paint on my water brush. I'm just gonna have this blend in. When we add the black to this, it will, so I'm just softening that whole thing out. You can still see it a little bit where the paint was, but not that much. Okay.
So what about all these bushy parts in here? Does that have to be done now, or does that?
No. That when we do this part here, that will kind of flow into whatever's down here.
Okay, so the black will
Yeah.
come down rather than
Yeah.
the green coming up. Okay.
Yeah. So that was the main thing there was apply the blue, soften the edges. There's some hard edges here with blue. We could paint those now if we wanted to.
Around his eye.
Yeah, just right up here. They look blue to me. Do they look blue to you?
Yes.
Sort of blue.
And they go right into this here.
Oh, I see.
And there's another one. It's actually not the right color, but I don't think it matters. It should be cobalt. That's what it should be. So those are blue. That's more black. They seem too hard-edged to me.
What about his mouth? This part, is that something you do now or later?
Yeah, it's a good question. We could do it now.
Is it too wet?
It's probably not too wet. It's almost green, isn't it? We can do that, but we want to soften it a bit at the same time. So it kind of goes. So this hopefully is still my water brush. And just soften it a bit. Mainly at the bottom. Now you could put a dab of blue in there too. Where do you think it's the darkest?
Between his eye and the mouth.
Yeah. That's probably good enough.
So you didn't actually use the lemon, that yellow?
I did not. I thought I would use it.
Under there,
There was
that's
some lemon there. Too late now to go back in there because that's probably still damp. But when we do another layer, we could put some lemon in there if we wanted to. But I did use the lemon with
To
the
make your
cobalt
green.
to make the green.
You did all that on dry.
All
And
of it
then
on
softened
dry and using a softening brush. Yep. Okay, that's your next challenge.
Okay, and so